Hey yo everyone, welcome back for another round of deals for the weekend. Thank you as always for hanging out with us again today. Now I know we're all a bit strapped for cash these days, so I picked out some of the better games that you can get for next to nothing. Some will be at new lows, some are matching previous lows, but they're all budget friendly. If you enjoyed the video or we help you save a few dollars, please subscribe and leave us a like down below. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thanks once again for hanging out. Alright everybody, with all that said, let's go ahead and dive in. Stay safe and please enjoy the video. Alright, we'll start off with Bot Vice, which is an incredibly difficult gallery shooter here on the Switch. It has a download around 170 megabytes and offers roughly 5 to 10 hours of gameplay. Now again, this game does not hold your hand at all. It throws everything at you right away after a short demo, and from there you just practice until you get better. The game looks and runs amazing here on our console, and you have a few different weapon upgrades that you'll acquire while playing through each level that can give you a bit more of an advantage. But for the most part, you're always outnumbered and dodging enemies both melee and ranged until you reach the boss of each stage. Now, if the game is just too hard, there is a rookie mode that you can use and it will shift things around a bit. Either way, this is a must buy if you haven't played it yet, and right now it's just $1.99, marked down 80% until August 2nd. Up next we have Dadish 3, which is the newest adventure in the Dadish series if you don't count Daily Dadish, and this time around we're once again on a mission to rescue our children from imminent danger. The graphics are as gorgeous as ever, and the tight controls from the first two games have also carried over here as well. This time around we have another 50 levels to overcome with 5 all new bosses to challenge. Right now you can pick up Dadish 3 for just $1.99, marked down 80% until the 26th with a download around 140 megabytes, and of course look out for Daily Dadish, which is also on sale. Dex is a single-player 2D action RPG that offers a main story that will take players 10 to 15 hours to wrap up. It features deep RPG mechanics mixed with side-scrolling 2D action and gives you dialogue choices that can alter the outcome of the story. On top of all that, you have the ability to play more stealthy or go all-out full force, whatever you prefer, and right now Dex is on sale for just $1.99, marked down 90% and matching an all-time low until the 25th. Now keep in mind you will need about 6 gigs for the install. Next we have Figment, which is a single-player adventure title with a download just under 2 gigs, and it offers roughly 5 to 6 hours of main story gameplay. Now the game takes place within the mind of a broken man, and we play as the embodiment of his courage as we fight off the nightmares that haunt him. It has great controls, and the combat, while simple, can be a lot of fun, especially during the boss battles. The sequel is great as well, and if you haven't jumped in, Part 1 is on sale for just $1.99, marked down 90% again until the 26th. Up next we have Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams, which is a single-player side-scrolling platformer with a download around 1.3 gigs, and it gives players 45 levels to work through, which should take roughly 5 to 10 hours depending on the difficulty you put it on and your skill level of course. It features a pretty cool 2-character mechanic where you have the 2 sisters and you can swap between them by pushing a button, and doing so of course will alter the worlds around you, change the music, and each sister has unique abilities that you can use to solve puzzles or get through the levels. On top of that, there are collectibles and bonus unlockables as well, and right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, matching an all-time low, and the deal ends on the 27th. Goblin Sword is a single-player side-scrolling action RPG with a roughly 10-hour main story and a small download around 250 megabytes. Now with this one you get more than 80 levels, cool boss battles, collectibles, and of course the unique feature with this game is that you have different animal forms that you can switch between to move around and solve puzzles. It's a great platformer with a ton of content, and right now it's marked down 60%, matching an all-time low until the 2nd. You can pick it up for just $1.99. Up next we have Madshot, which is a brand new 2D single-player twin-stick shooter with a download around 1.7 gigs, and while I haven't played enough of the game yet to know exactly how long it will last, what I have played has been a blast, and I've only experienced a few minor issues here or there, usually within the menus and nothing that affected the actual gameplay. Now it is a roguelite, so there's definitely a good bit of replay value and challenge, especially once you get a bit deeper into the game. The acrobatic combat is a ton of fun, and right now you can pick it up at just $1.99, marked down 90% with an introductory discount until the 1st of the month. Next we have the Oniken and Odallus bundle, which is a package containing 2 great side-scrolling action platformers. Now they went with the retro look and sound for these titles, and they absolutely nailed it with both. Oniken itself features 6 stages with almost 20 different boss battles and does give a bit more of a cinematic presentation to the story, whereas Odallus is a bit slower and a little more challenging in my opinion. Each game offers hours of runtime, and it's an incredible deal. Right now you can pick up the bundle for just $1.99, marked down 90% until the 26th. Riddled Corpses EX is an arcade-style twin-stick shooter for 1 to 2 players in local co-op. It features multiple game modes, including the story mode, which itself has about 4 hours of content, and then you have the arcade mode, which is just all-out mayhem. You have 6 playable characters, all with unique stats and abilities. There are upgrades and unlockables, and they even have online leaderboards. Right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 80% and matching a previous low until the 30th. This War of Mine is a single-player 2D strategy game with a download around 4 gigs and a main campaign that will last more than 15 hours to wrap up. Now in this one we play as a group of civilians trying to survive in the midst of a war that's raging on around us. It has a day and night cycle tied directly to the gameplay, and basically you're trapped inside during the day, and that's when you do all the building and management type stuff. Then at night you can send out your survivors to do different missions or scavenge for supplies. Now with this version you get the base game and all of the DLC and enhancements, making it a great value, and right now you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 95%, and the deal ends on the 31st. Up next we have Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King, which is a Zelda-like single-player top-down adventure title with a download around 440 megabytes and a story that should last about 10 hours to wrap up. The world is large and explorable, and the dungeons and combat feel a lot like you'd expect, with familiar-looking locations and recognizable gadgets, and the game knows this, so the story doesn't take itself too seriously either. It's a great Zelda-like, and right now it's on sale for just $3.74, marked down 75%, and the deal ends on the 2nd of August. Oceanhorn: Monster of Uncharted Seas is another single-player action-adventure title that looks and plays very similar to older Zelda games, this time more from the N64 or GameCube era. The game has a download just under 500 megabytes and a story that will last about 10 to 12 hours to wrap up. Now there are environmental puzzles to solve, new items and gadgets to find, and the combat feels just like those old Zelda games I mentioned as well. It runs at a smooth 60 frames, which is nice and looks gorgeous here on the console. The soundtrack is top tier as well, and right now you can pick it up for just $3.74, marked down 75%, and the deal ends on the 2nd of August. Sword of the Necromancer is a top-down action RPG available for 1 or 2 players in local co-op and should offer about 10 hours of gameplay. It has a download around 1.4 gigs and includes the bonus DLC as well, which makes this another great value. Now the game is basically a dungeon crawler roguelike, and it's another one that plays a lot like a top-down Zelda, except you have the ability to turn fallen enemies into allies that can then fight alongside you. The game is definitely tough and the boss battles are intense, but if you're up for a challenge, right now it's on sale for just $3.74, marked down 75% until the 9th of August. Crown Trick is a single-player strategy RPG that offers more than 20 hours of gameplay on average with a download around 1.4 gigs. Now this is a great roguelike with turn-based tactical combat, beautiful art and animations, and the story is surprisingly deep as well, but at its core it's a dungeon crawler, which is one of my favorite genres. Each run feels fresh and varies from the last, and the item upgrades and unlockables are amazing. If you're interested in Crown Trick, be sure to pick it up before the deal ends on the 29th. Right now it's marked down 75% to just $4.99, matching an all-time low. Up next we have Rogue Heroes: Ruins of Tasos, which is another top-down adventure game that plays a lot like classic Zelda titles from the 90s. It has a download around 1.8 gigs and offers nearly 20 hours of main story gameplay on average. Now on top of that, you have the ability to team up with 3 other people online and play the entire game together. There's also a town building system that adds even more depth to an already content-filled game, and right now it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75%, and the deal ends on the 29th. Now you will need just about 2 gigs for the install, so make sure you have space. Death Road to Canada is a really unique action-adventure title that offers a ton of gameplay, mostly due to the amazing replay value and the difficulty. It has a download around 200 megabytes to install, and it's basically a road trip story where everything is randomized, including the story events, the different areas, and even the people that you meet along the way. On top of all that, on the trip you encounter zombie hordes, and taking them out is a ton of fun, especially in couch co-op with up to 3 other people. It can get a bit overwhelming with a ton of zombies on screen at once, but it's definitely worth checking out, and right now it's on sale for just $4.49, marked down 70% to a new low, and the deal ends on August 1st. Up next we have Feeble Light, which is a new single-player shoot-'em-up with a minimalistic art style, and it offers 5 randomized stages with bullet hell mayhem that can really test your skills by the end of the game. There are multiple color palettes to choose between, so pick whatever's easiest on your eyes and take off. Now you do have a few special abilities that you can use, and they'll definitely come in handy for some of the tougher areas or even during the boss battles. Right now you can pick up Feeble Light for just $3.99, marked down 20% until the 27th, and the download is under 100 megabytes. Minute of Islands is a single-player 2D puzzle platformer with a roughly 2 gig download, and the main story should last players roughly 5 to 6 hours to wrap up. Now in this one we play as a young tinkerer named Mo, equipped with the magical Omni Switch, and you'll need this to solve puzzles and work your way through the story. The story itself is presented as an internal narration from the main character, and the game is very friendly for new gamers as most of the puzzles are pretty simple, and your Omni Switch can also guide you in the right direction if you happen to get lost. It also has a gorgeous art style and runs well here on the Switch, and right now it's on sale for just $3.99, marked down 80% until the 2nd, matching an all-time low. Up next we have Slice, Dice, and Rice, which is a strategic fighting game that offers both local and online multiplayer options, although I wouldn't recommend it to play online as the connectivity can be hit or miss most of the time. With that said though, the core game is solid, with a great one-hit combat system, meaning that every attack, dodge, and parry is important, and they went with a unique art style, which really stands out here on the console. Now the game gives you 8 playable characters, a full-blown story mode in addition to the exhibition mode, and online modes. Overall it's a great value this week, and it's currently marked down 73% to a brand new low of just $4.85. You'll need about 1 gig for the install, and the deal ends on the 8th. Viviette is a single-player horror survival game with a roughly 4 to 5 hour story, and the download comes in at about 125 megabytes. Now this game plays a lot like older Resident Evil games with a top-down view and a more retro aesthetic. Now players will have to explore the huge haunted mansion while searching for items, managing inventory, solving puzzles, and pushing the story forward, all while trying to avoid being caught by a roaming monster. It's one of the better games in the genre, and right now you can pick it up at half price, bringing it down to just $4.99, matching an all-time low until the 10th. What Remains of Edith Finch is a collection of single-player adventures that in total will take roughly 3 to 4 hours to wrap up. It's a series of strange tales about a family in Washington state where players take the role of Edith and explore the massive Finch house, trying to uncover the mysteries of her family's history and why she's the last one alive. Now this is more of an experience than a game, so to speak, and can really recreate the feeling of being transported into the pages of a really emotional book. The game is more about the atmosphere and the feeling that you get from being in this home and learning all of the stories by yourself. Now make sure you know what type of game you're getting here, but if this is your type of thing, it's on sale for just $4.99, marked down 75% and matching an all-time low until the 31st. Trash Quest is a fun single-player Metroidvania with a download around 200 megabytes, and it offers about 2 hours of gameplay. And of course, as you can tell, they went with a unique look, but the gameplay is somewhat unique as well, and that you have no checkpoints, just a single respawn point, which happens to be a trash bin, and our main character is a gun-toting raccoon that isn't quite himself until he's fully fed. What's really cool is that if you die during a boss fight, you'll start right outside the room. That's really nice, and any power-ups and shortcuts that you unlock remain through death as well. Now if you get lost, you can always pull up the map, but it wasn't really a ton of help in my opinion, but it is nice that it's there. It does have online leaderboards if that's your thing, and there's a speedrun fandom out there for the game as well right now, and you can pick it up for just $1.99, marked down 80% until the 28th, and matching an all-time low. Collapsed is a single-player action platformer with fast-paced action and intense combat. It has a download around 3.1 gigs and should offer roughly 15 hours of gameplay on average. Now the game is a roguelike by design with a pretty solid progression system in place. It is kind of challenging, and it utilizes a twin-stick control layout, so keep that in mind if you're interested in picking this one up. Right now it's on sale for just $2.25, marked down 85%, and matching an all-time low until the 4th. Next up we have Encodya, which is a single-player point-and-click adventure game. It has a 10 to 12 hour story, and the download comes in at about 4.3 gigs. Now this is an emotional story about a young girl and her guardian robot named Sam, set in a futuristic cyberpunk city. Now we set out to fulfill her father's mission, and the story takes you to over 100 different locations, and there are dozens of really cool NPCs to interact with along the way as well. If you enjoy a good point-and-click adventure with a strong narrative, be sure to check this one out before the deal ends on the 2nd. It's marked down 90% to just $2.99. White Knight is a single-player survival horror title with a unique noir art style and fixed camera angles. It has a download around 1.3 gigs and should take roughly 6 to 8 hours to wrap up. Now the story does have some really dark moments, so be prepared for that going in. As far as the gameplay, you're defenseless for the most part, and your only source of light has a limited time use, and it attracts evil spirits haunting the mansion that you find yourself trapped in. Now you have to do your best to avoid them while solving puzzles to work your way back to freedom, and right now it's on sale for just $2.99, marked down 80%, and the deal ends on the 27th. Up next we have Donut County, which is a fun little puzzle game with a download around 380 megabytes and a main story that can be wrapped up in just a couple of hours. The game has a simple premise where you take control of a sinkhole that grows bigger and bigger with each thing that you eat up. It can be pretty funny to see how everything reacts on screen, and the story of course doesn't take itself too seriously. If you're interested in Donut County, be sure to pick it up for just $3.79. It's marked down 71% and matching an all-time low until the 31st. Alright everyone, here are a few other deals to check out while you're already on the eShop. Alright folks, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and let me know down below if you plan to pick anything up this weekend. Take care everyone, thanks for watching.